Hi there, you're listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. My name is Matt Wakeling. Thank you so much for joining me. And here we are, episode 13, number 13 of the podcast. Hey, today I'm very excited to bring you an interview with Sarah Lipstate. She performs under the name of Novella, and I've been listening to her stuff for quite a few years now. She's awesome, man. She's how do I describe this stuff? She incorporates aspects of ambient music, drone music, noise, and performs it all single-handedly on a guitar, usually a Jazzmaster or a Jaguar, through a bunch of pedals and a looper, and she creates these incredible soundscapes. Now, Sarah's been working as Novella for over 10 years. She's released a whole heap of really great albums. She's done some really cool collaboration work. One of such was live at Roulette with Leeuwan from Sonic Youth. Now, Sarah's based in New York on the east coast of the United States, but when I spoke to her, she was spending some time in Los Angeles, right on the other side of the continent, and she was preparing for this amazing residency in a pop-up kind of dining, audiovisual kind of pop-up event called Monkey Town. You really need to look it up to get the idea, but she's spending a week there as a featured artist, so that looks to be really, really cool. I had intended to talk to Sarah about her career as Novella as a whole entity, but really we just got stuck on 2016 because it's been such a fantastic year for her. She's been doing a lot of touring with Iggy Pop, opening up Iggy Pop shows around the States and Europe, finishing a tour in the Royal Albert Hall, which must have been an incredible experience. Now, on that tour, Josh Homme and Troy Van Leeuwan from Queens of the Stone Age were actually in Iggy Pop's band, so she got to hang out with those guys and talk guitars as well. So we touched on that a bit during our interview. Sarah also tells us how she's revamped her pedal board in the last few months. She is a pedal nut. She is so into it. So it was cool hearing about her new pedal discoveries and how that kind of stuff informs compositions and her sonic exploration. Before we get to the interview, I just want to play a little sample of a Novella track, just to give you an idea of just the immersive experience that it is. This is a piece called Fighting Sleep, and it's from the Novella album No Dreams that came out in 2013. Sarah Lipstate, welcome to the Guitar Speak podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Cool. Now, Sarah, I want to talk about your career as Novella, which has run for over 10 years, but can we talk about this year for a moment? 2016, we're only halfway through it, but it seems to have been an amazing year for you already.
It's been an incredible year for me, and so many things have happened this year that I never imagined I'd ever get to experience, between, the tour with Iggy and getting to play with him at South by Southwest on my birthday. That was incredible. And finishing up the next Novella album. I just wrapped that. I don't think it's actually going to get released until the beginning of next year, but
okay.
I was able to work on it. Actually began recording for it late last year, and then I went on the tour with Iggy in March and May, so I was able to kind of get some distance from recording and then come back after this incredible experience and hop back into the studio and finish it up. And I felt like I was really able to channel my experiences and just the inspiration from getting to spend time with these incredible musicians into my work. And I'm just really happy with how the new record is sounding. So yeah, I mean, it's been an amazing year.
That's cool. That's so good. So when you say the tour with Iggy, obviously you're talking about Iggy Pop. So yeah, you did the South by Southwest, then I think there was an American tour,
Yes.
and then Europe.
Yes.
That's really cool. How did Iggy's crowds take to you when they see this solo guitar player opening the show and making these amazing soundscapes?
Well, it was a little bit hard to gauge what the reaction was because, these were the biggest venues I have played so far in my career, and there's quite some distance between you and the audience. There
Sure.
was one show that we played that was actually kind of added after the tour had already began, and it was in upstate New York. And that venue, because it was kind of like a last minute addition, was much more intimate. There were maybe like, 1,500 people there instead of, upwards of 3,500 people. And that venue was actually all standing
Okay.
only instead of like your typical theater seating. And so there were people, pressed right up against the stage. And I think that was one of my favorite shows just in terms of like, connecting with the audience. It was very intimate and I could feel that people were enjoying what I was doing.
Yeah.
The other shows, I just focused on giving the best performance that I could, and most of the time I made myself available like at the merch table afterwards, so
Hmm.
I could actually, talk to people who wanted to, meet me after the show, and I got a lot of great feedback that way. Obviously, the people who didn't get it or didn't enjoy it, they didn't, bother to come up and say anything to me, which is
Sure.
perfectly
Sure.
fine. But there were only a few shows where, I looked out on the stage while I was performing and saw people on their cell phones or, people were talking.
Yeah.
Um, but I was prepared for that.
Sure.
And the most helpful thing for me was actually something that Iggy said to me. After a few dates into the tour, he invited us to dinner. It was Iggy and his whole band, which were all amazing musicians. A lot of the Queens of the Stone Age guys, and
Yeah. Yeah.
Matt Sweeney, and then Matt from Arctic Monkeys was the drummer.
Hmm.
And he told me that uh, he believes in what I do, and he said, "You're a top-notch artist, and my audience trusts me. So if I think you're great and I put you on the bill and I put you on stage before me, like they're gonna love it because because they trust me
Yeah.
and they
Cool.
trust, my taste." And so I was like, I don't know if that logic really holds true, but it was all I needed to hear. It was like, I'm here because he personally chose me to
Yeah.
be there.
Wow.
And so all I need to do is perform to the best of my abilities and enjoy it.
Hmm.
And hopefully, yeah, hopefully the audience will feel the way that Iggy hoped they would.
Yeah. Cool. And yeah, kudos to Iggy for choosing a support that's yeah,
Yeah.
maybe left of what his crowd would usually be into. So that's really cool.
Yes.
So in the band there was Josh Homme and Troy Van Leeuwen. Did you hang out with those guys much? Did you talk guitars much with those guys, or music in
Yes,
general? Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, that was one of the most fun things about the tour for me because as anyone who has been a touring musician, that there's so much downtime. You have to show up at the venue pretty
Hmm.
early for sound check, and then you're just waiting around. And so uh, the guys in Iggy's band were very like open and welcoming to me. So I would get to hang out in their dressing room. Often my dressing room, if I was lucky, there'd be like a bottle of water in there.
Uh-huh.
And so in the band's dressing room, there would always be like, a full spread of like snacks and
Yeah, right.
alcohol and water, anything that you would want. So they were very generous in sharing that with me, and it was just like more fun to hang out with them than to hang out by myself. So um, I got to talk to Josh and Troy about guitars a lot. I mean, Josh plays. Um, they all play a wide range of different guitars, and
Hmm.
it was um, interesting for me to talk to Troy about. He actually has his own signature model Fender Jazzmaster,
Yeah,
and
yeah, that looks
if
awesome.
you yeah, if you know Noveller, then you know that like for the past several years, I've played these offset guitars,
Yeah.
Fender Jaguars, Fender Jazzmasters. That's just what I love. That's what I'm drawn to. And so when they told me, like, because the first show at South by Southwest, I saw Josh playing the Jazzmaster. So I went up to him after the show and I was like, I had no idea you played a Jazzmaster. And he's like, that's Troy's. Talk to him about it. And
Uh-huh.
so um, I really, asked a lot of questions, and yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I recently received one from Fender. So Troy, connected me with them, and I have his signature model now, which is
That's
fantastic.
so cool, yeah.
Um, yeah, but and I like talking effects pedals and all kinds of gear, and they were really open to talking about that with me. And another cool thing was that a lot of their friends who actually make pedals or make guitars came to these shows, and so they'd be backstage and I get to meet these guys and they'd have like all these guitars and pedals with them, and so
Wow.
I ended up connecting, like, for example, Dr. No effects pedals out of Amsterdam, and I've been communicating with them, and they're sending me this crazy analog mother brain delay that has like these brains. The knobs on the pedal are actually like these little pink brains. So it's pretty custom, it's pretty out there, but just connecting with people, that's like really what I'm passionate about. And it was really cool that like through through these guys I was able to like meet so many other people. But yeah, everyone was really kind, and I mean, I got the overall feeling from like the band and the crew that I was kind of like their little sister.
Uh-huh. Nice.
So they took care of me, and we had yeah, really really great time.
That's great. Hey, I love it that most of us would go to the shop if we wanted to try out the Troy's signature guitar. You actually tried out Troy's actual guitar and then got a signature yourself. That's cool.
Yes. Yeah, except like yeah, I took a photo of me wearing Troy's signature Jazzmaster, and the way like he has the strap so low that I
Uh-huh.
couldn't actually play it the way that he had it. But yeah, I was able to get a feel for it, and that was enough for me to decide like I need to have this guitar. So
Yeah, cool. You've got a s-
yeah,
you've got a 61 Jazzmaster. What's the
I do.
what are the big differences? I mean, that's awesome in itself, by the way. A 61, that's really cool. But compared to the
Yeah.
signature, what's the difference between those two guitars?
Well, they feel pretty different. The neck on a vintage guitar is going to be completely different than like a neck on the feel of a neck on a new make. Um, so also a vintage guitar is going to have its quirks,
Yeah, sure.
which is, part of their charm. But I was actually talking to Troy here in LA yesterday, and I was saying that, I had a lot of trouble using my violin bow and bowing the vintage Jazzmaster,
Okay.
but that the TVL signature Jazzmaster bows just like really easily. It sounds really great. There's a pickup switch that was a custom choice that he put in there that I really find useful. So, just in terms of like practicality, like for this trip to LA, I flew here. I was only able to bring one guitar,
Yep.
so brought the TVL signature Jazzmaster. It's just more practical than my vintage guitars, but
Sure.
I love them all, and it's just part of the fun. I'm glad that I'm in a position now where, yeah, I'm able to have more than one guitar,
Yeah, cool.
and yeah, it's it just feels nice to be able to treat yourself to a vintage instrument.
Yeah, unreal. With um with your Jaguars, is that a big shift when you're moving then, say, between the Jazzmaster and the Jaguar? I mean, they're both offset, they've both got single coils, but the
Hmm.
the scale length's a little shorter on the Jaguars, isn't it?
Right. There are some songs that I can really only play on the Jaguar unless I were to adjust the tunings that I use because of that extra fret that I have.
Hmm.
So, for instance, some of the new songs that I wrote, they're actually in a different. It works out well if it's in a different tuning, and I can use the Jaguar and make use of that extra fret that's available, and
Sure.
then keep the Jazzmaster in the open D tuning, which is what I use for the majority of my songs.
Okay. When you say open D,
Hmm.
what are you going from low to A? Is that like a D A D F sharp A D?
It's exactly that, yeah.
Okay, cool. So the very traditional
So
open D.
that, yes. So I keep the Jazzmaster in that tuning, and I have the Jaguar currently in a different crazy tuning that I came up with a long time ago, and it's funny. I'm not going to say what it is.
Okay.
It's a pretty crazy tuning.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but that's the main difference. Actually, I feel like the Jaguars do have like a slimmer neck, and for me, it's just easier for me to move around. I have very small hands,
Okay.
so that's that's a consideration for yeah why I've chosen these particular guitars. It's just a lot easier for me to play them.
Yeah, cool. Now you mentioned pedals. I noticed, yeah, once you got off the Iggy Pop tour, you seem to be again re-looking at your pedal board. So you've got it down to two pedal trains. Um, what are some of the
Yes.
what are some of the new pedals you've been checking out that you've put into your rig recently?
Well, um, let me start out by saying that I started expanding pedal collection when back from the tour as part of like retail therapy because I was so it was a come down um, when the tour ended because it was just so amazing and so thrilling. It's just like such high to perform. Like the last show I did with them was at Royal Albert Hall in London,
Yeah, far out.
and then I had to, yeah, then I had to fly back and I immediately played a show in New York at an amazing, the Met Cloisters, which was spectacular. But after that, it was like
Uh-huh.
I didn't have anything else planned until these LA shows
Yeah, right. Yeah.
in July, and so I was pretty bummed out, and so I decided to just really immerse myself in playing and experimenting with new things, and that's what led to me getting some new pedals. And so I think the first I got was the Montreal Assembly Count to Five,
Oh, okay.
which is a crazy like delay pitch shifting sampler pedal. It's very boutique.
Yeah.
I believe one that I have is the most current model, and I think maybe 500 of them were made.
Okay.
So I was able to track one down on reverb.com, and I paid more than I should have just to like able to get it and yeah, start playing with it as soon as possible. So that pedal is bonkers.
Yeah. In fact, your description,
It's
that was the most coherent description of that pedal I've ever heard because it is bonkers. Yeah.
Yeah, but that means it's a lot of fun. It takes a lot of time if you really want to, figure out your way around it. I tend to use my phone to take pictures if I come across settings that I want to make note of. And with this
Okay. Yep.
particular pedal,
Yeah, sure.
when I go back and reference these photos, I try to dial in like the same the same settings, and it just like sounds completely different. It's just, it's a really nuanced pedal, but I think it's a lot of fun, and I've had a lot of fun experimenting with it. I haven't quite figured out how to incorporate it into my live set, but
Okay. Yep.
not every pedal has to be, used in a live setting. And so yeah, I started posting videos of me experimenting with my pedals on Instagram, and so that opened up fun dialogues with the people who follow me on there, and then people started recommending other things to me.
Uh-huh.
I had previously, like in between the US and the European legs of the tour with Iggy, I had pre-ordered the Electro Harmonix Mel 9 pedal, which is like the Mellotron
Oh, yeah. Yep.
emulator. And so I had gotten that and was able to incorporate that into my board and use it for the European shows. So that was really cool. But when I got back, I was able to spend more time with it because it really takes a lot of time to go deep with these pedals and really figure them out. So
Yeah, sure.
the Mel 9, the Count to 5, and then people started talking about the Red Panda Particle, which is a granular delay
Yep.
pedal.
Yep.
And, I was watching the Knobs demo on YouTube for that, and I was like, oh my God, I need to track this down. And I actually had a really hard time finding it. And I was in LA a few weeks ago. I was recording with my friend Reggie Watts, and I
Okay.
started talking to him about it, and
Yeah,
he was
cool.
like, "Oh, these look cool. I think I want to try out their Context reverb pedal." So he got on the phone with the Chicago Music Exchange, and we ended up like ordering. He got the Context, and I got the Particle, and we had them like overnight it to Los Angeles,
Nice.
and we messed around with those when we were doing our recording sessions. So,
Cool.
I was happy that he kind of took charge and found them, um, and I think the two other pedals I got, Caroline Guitar Company sent me the I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's like the Meteor lo-fi
Oh,
reverb
yeah, I've seen
uh,
that. Yeah.
to demo. Yeah, they sent me a demo pedal of that, and I mean, I think that's one of the most unique reverbs that I've that I've gotten to play so far. It was really fun. I used it on some of the recordings for the new album. Also, still trying to figure out how to incorporate it into um, my live set.
Okay. Yep.
These pedals that are more unique can be kind of difficult to fit into like a set of pre-existing songs.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
I also really like the challenge of that, and it can kind of breathe new life into a song that maybe I've been playing, for a while. So I'm trying to use them to kind of spice up my set, and also for the new songs that I actually used when I was creating them, then
Yep.
that's great too. And then uh, yeah, also on that trip to LA, Troy Van Leeuwan from Queens of the Stone Age lent me the Electro-Harmonix Super Ego pedal, and he like showed me what you can do with that, and
Uh-huh.
I was just like smitten so hard with that pedal. So I used it while I was in town, and then ended up ordering one for myself. So yeah, it was quite a lot of um, acquiring
Yeah.
new things, but it helped fill the void of that, left from the tour ending.
Yep. And does that inspire? Does that inspire
And
new sounds and new pieces,
oh
compositions?
yeah, of course. I mean, another way of spinning it is like I'm investing in myself, and I'm investing in Noveller and my, expanding my palette of tools that I use to, do what I do. And I think that it does inspire my writing.
Yep.
And I've always approached the guitar from the beginning as like, I don't know how to play this thing, but I'm determined to make sound with it. So like when you get a new pedal, it's like, I don't really know how this works, but let me see what I can do. And I think that I'm really like driven by that curiosity. So when you put like a new, a new set of tools in front of me, I'm going to try to figure out how to have fun with them. And so that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, cool. So when you're writing and you're creating new sounds and things, are you considering how you might want to play certain pieces live, or do you treat it as a totally different expression? So you're just recording the album and you worry about performing it live later.
Um, I worry about performing it live later. Um, when I'm writing for a new album, my main focus is just, crafting a piece of music that is going to sound the best that it possibly can on the record, which sometimes means, I'm going to double up a guitar line with, something um, that I know I'm not going to be able to pull off live. Maybe like double it up with, like a synth
Sure,
line or
sure.
something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, when this is done and I'm coming up with the live arrangements, then I'll figure it out then. And that's kind of where I am right now, figuring out live arrangements for some of these songs, but also stuff like I used some EBO, which I hadn't used in a really long time, on record.
Oh, okay. Because I've heard you use that a lot in earlier stuff. That was a big deal.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah. I used to use it a lot, and I had to get one for. I have a duo project with JG Thurwell, and
Yeah.
I use EBO a lot for that.
Okay.
I had to get one to do some recording while I was in Louisiana for that. And so while I had it, I ended up using it for some of the new Noveller songs. I think just one,
Okay.
and it was sounded great.
Cool.
But I'm doing now is kind of using the super ego
Yep.
to pull off those EBO lines instead of actually, using the EBO. And, that's fun for me to figure out. But yeah, I think the record is the record and the live show is the live show. And the pieces should, definitely resemble each other, but I don't feel like I need to like recreate anything line for line.
So the record's out early next year, but you've done it. That's will that be on Fire Records
Yes.
again?
Yes, it will be on Fire, the Fantastic Planet, and they also reissued
Yeah, yeah.
No Dreams and Glacial Glow. So, they've been good to me.
Mm-hmm.
They're based in London.
Yep.
Curious to see, how the changes there with the UK will affect them. Hopefully, it won't have a big impact, but
Sure.
the record's slated at the moment. It's slated for an early February release.
Awesome.
So, yeah, it's that'll be exciting.
Yeah, great.
Start off a new year with a new album.
Your albums, they always seem to have such a really strong kind of narrative. They really work as a
Yes.
cohesive thing. Is that a conscious decision when you sit down to start a new record?
Yes, I mean it's something that I definitely strive for, and I'm really happy to say that I feel like this new album that I just finished is very cohesive and has some really strong sonic themes
Mm-hmm.
that kind of go throughout, but it also takes these really exciting, like melodic twists and turns. So I think that it manages to be cohesive while also being diverse in terms of like the sonic landscape.
Yep.
But I'm just really happy with how it turned out, and I think people who have been following my work and know the other albums are going to be really excited about it. It's going to be I can't wait to see what the response is going to be when it comes out.
That's great. I've probably been listening to you since probably around Glacial Glow. So
Hmm.
yeah, I've enjoyed the journey absolutely. So when I say
Yeah.
albums have a coherence to them, that's been one of the cool things. It's like a little journey. So they
Yeah.
Glacial Glow, that was one of your guitar only records, hey?
Yes.
And then No Dreams, I think you started expanding some sounds a little bit there, and Fantastic Planet sort of
Yes.
continued. So yeah, cool. Very exciting to follow the sounds you're making. That's great. Hey,
Thanks.
I'm conscious. We're probably getting to the end of your time. So, hey, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great to hear about. Well, we just talked about this year, really, and that's been awesome.
Yeah.
That's been cool.
There's a lot to talk about
Sure.
in terms of 2016 for Noveller. So it's been a pleasure talking to you, Matt, and
Cheers.
thank you so much for having me on the podcast. And yeah, maybe we can talk again when the album comes out next year.
Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be excellent. That'd be really cool. All right. Well, hey, thank you. Yeah. So thank you so much again, and take care. Enjoy your residency in LA, and
I
yeah.
will. Thank you, Matt.
So we'll hopefully catch up with you soon.
Okay, bye bye.
Cool. Thanks, Sarah. Bye. All right, there you go. There's the Novella interview with Sarah Lipstate. Such a great guitar player and really innovative and doing some cool stuff. So I'm looking forward to this new album coming out early 2017. Now, we'll let you know when that comes out, but really you should chase up some Novella stuff for yourself. She's on Facebook and Instagram and all those places. And Sarah's often posting sound clips of her jamming out on the pedals and clips from her gigs and stuff too. So really well worth checking out. Now, the Guitar Speak podcast, we've got a whole bunch of other episodes as well. with players from all sorts of styles. We're nothing if not interested in lots of different ways of playing the guitar. So we've had some rockers, some fusion guys, some acoustic finger styles, some other more experimental type players like Sarah. And I don't know about you, but I'm into all of it. I love it. People doing this stuff well on the guitar, pretty much any style. I get excited about. So you can expect more different stuff on the Guitar Speak podcast in the episodes to come. At the moment, let me tell you, I'm doing stacks of interviews. I've got a little bit of a window where I can get a lot of interviews done. So I'm kind of stockpiling them for the next coming weeks. Months perhaps, and I'm really looking forward to bringing a whole bunch of players. Some of them you might have heard, some of them you may not have heard, but either way I really think they bring something unique to the instrument, and it's great hearing their stories. So subscribe to us on iTunes, very easy to do through your podcast app on your iThing, whatever that iThing is. If you're not on an iThing, Stitcher is a great place to check out all our episodes, or guitarspeakpodcast.libsyn.com has all our episodes there. It's all free to download and check out and listen. We are also on Facebook and Instagram. You can connect with us there. We love hearing from listeners, and if you're enjoying the episodes, if you share them around, that's awesome. We really, really appreciate that. Gets the word out, which is great. All right, well, hey, thank you so much for listening in to the Guitar Speak podcast. My name's Matt Wakeling, and I'll see you next time.